What's up? First thing I'm going to tell you is why should you even watch this video? Well, like I said in the title, this is about how I built a business, a landscape construction business that brought me in $2,000 profit per week. And I built it during the pandemic lockdown starting in 2020. And first year was part-time working for a moving company and then doing this business in between, building it. And then the second year I tripled my business. And this is without getting a business loan. This is without a truck. I built this out of the back of a Subaru Impreza. I stuffed all my tools back there, got all the other stuff delivered on site, and like no mowing either. No mowing, no irrigation, construction, did walkways, patios, skid steer work, had everything delivered. I built that up from scratch. And then the next thing is I also helped a friend to build a painting business from scratch. And this friend, he was in prison. He was on heroin for 10 years. He was in a troubled situation. I helped him get on his feet a little bit, and then I helped him build that business from scratch, setting things up, sales and marketing and shirts, and getting out there, getting jobs. And now he's pulling in 6 figures. It's a 6-figure business. Okay, so I've done this multiple times. And in addition to that, let me tell you a little bit about my experience. I've done landscape construction for over 10 years when I first got into business. And starting around 2015, I started studying things and taking courses on search engine optimization, SEO, building a blog. Then I got my license to sell life insurance. I became a life insurance agent. I started doing sales, cutting my teeth on sales there. With cold calling, we had to dial 250 dials every weekend. I had to go door knocking to chase after 1-year-old leads, sometimes cold leads for sales. And then I got into digital marketing. I spent thousands of dollars learning about digital marketing, about running Google ads, Facebook ads, building websites, doing SEO, everything that has to do with digital marketing. I've been in Facebook groups and other groups with thousands and thousands of other marketers across the country. I've been friends with people that make 6 figures per month. I've talked with these people, associated with these people. I've seen a bunch of scammers and sociopaths. I've learned my lessons through that. I've lost money. I've been scammed myself. I've been through multiple different courses. I've even got access to other courses for how someone built a gym franchises across the country. Many different things that I've been through. I've been through the pain. I've spent the money. I've made the mistakes. I've gotten the experience, and I learned from them. And then after multiple failures, I had success. And I'm here to give this to you. And the other reason you should listen is I'm going to give this for free. Okay? And I'm not going to ask for your email. I don't want you to buy my course. And there's nothing else to sell you. Nothing absolutely at all. There's no catch whatsoever. And, you know, it's funny because in marketing, they teach you, oh, you know, you don't want to give things away for free because then people won't see the value in it. Well, I'm going to see if you guys see the value in this, because honestly, the information that I'm going to stuff in this presentation, and I'm going to switch to my screen and show you all my notes, it's worth thousands of dollars. Thousands upon thousands of dollars. I'm giving it all away for free, and I'm only doing it in this one video. Okay? This channel primarily is a ministry where I preach the Bible. But I figured I learned all this information. I want to give it away to you guys for free, and I want to help people to be able to start a business on their own, people to be able to help their families and support a family off one income. That's a goal that I have. I want to help people to do that, and so I want to give this information away for free. Now, if you do find value in it, I'll give you the honor system that if you want to give, I'll put my link in the description to PayPal and to Zelle. You can send money there. If you find whatever value you find in it, you can send it there, but you don't have to. I'm giving it all away for free. You can take it, you can run with it, you can start a business. And in this presentation, I'm going to give you everything that you need, from setting up the business, sales, marketing, dealing with employees, what kills a business, doing taxes, bookkeeping, your health, dealing with friends and family and customers, and everything that you need to know. And you can only get this information from first-hand experience, doing it on the ground, hands-on. You can't get this just from watching a bunch of videos online, although I have done that, and I've been through seeing who's a scam and who's not. But this is from hands-on, doing it boots on the ground, going through it, grinding it, every single day, long days, and through the weekends, and all that other type of stuff. That's how I got this information that I'm going to give to you. So this is just the intro I wanted to do before I jump onto the screen. So I'm just showing you what the value in this, why you should listen to the whole presentation all the way through. And if you get value out of it, like I said, I'll leave a link below, but also you can leave a comment, and you can tell other people, give it to anyone you know that was thinking about starting a business, or maybe it might be a good idea for them. I ask that you please share it with them and spread this around, and because this is no fluff, no baloney, it's just pure value information. I don't mess around. It's going to be stuffed with good information. Okay, so thank you for watching the video. Please watch all the way through. Like, share, comment, subscribe at the end, and thank you for tuning in. All right, so let's get into the notes here of how I built a $2,000 per week business out of the back of my car without a business loan during the pandemic lockdowns. Everything you need to know. Also known as the low overhead, low stress, high profit business model. The reason I say that is, you know, there's this illusion out there that I think needs to be destroyed, and it's very dangerous, especially for younger guys, people that don't know a lot about business. They look around and they see guys with a bunch of trucks and equipment and all this stuff and go, ooh, oh man, they must make so much money. Look at that business. But little do they know that that business could be an absolute stressful prison for that person. And they could have so much debt and it's killing them, or they've plateaued, slow death, whatever it may be. That doesn't mean anything. So don't take a look at people's trucks and equipment and think that it's great. It's a great business. You know, it's all about the profit and also reducing stress. Profit and stress is a huge thing with business that people don't tell you. They try to brag about revenue numbers and all in their equipment and stuff. That's all an illusion, fake status game. Don't get sucked into that stuff. All right, so this is a different business model. If you want to go do some other business model, if you're another business owner and you think you should do things that way, whatever, great. Go make a video, do that somewhere else. This is the way that I believe is a good way to do it. Low stress, high profit. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into the notes. First, I'm going to start with biggest business killers. All right, now this isn't every single business killer, but these are some of the big ones I've seen. First is lack of sales. And the reason for a lack of sales is, like I said, failure to build a predictable pipeline of leads through marketing and properly close them, okay? And that's a big thing because, you know, if you don't have sales, you don't have a business. You need to, especially in the beginning of a business, you have to learn how to get sales and build a customer base. Now, maybe after years, you build up a good customer base and everything's word of mouth. You hear some of these guys go, oh, I just get it, word of mouth. Great. You've been in, you know, you've been around, you have a name for yourself, you have a reputation, you've built that up. But getting off the ground, nobody knows you, nobody knows about your company. You need to learn how to bring in sales and not do it, you know, a bunch here and then not a lot the next month. Predictable. And that's through marketing. Like I said, you build a pipeline. You got to learn how to do marketing. So you're bringing in the leads, learn how to close the leads, follow up on them. We'll talk more about that later. And then another thing that they fail to do is two things. So I've seen a lot of business owners throw money at a scam marketer one time, and or they try running one of the Facebook ad, which fails, and then they say, oh, it doesn't work, and then they give up. Well, that's ridiculous. Okay, you know, first of all, yeah, there's a bunch of scam marketers out there. You got to vet them. You got to look into them. Preferably try to find one that if you need to use one, try to find one that's recommended from a business owner friend that you know, someone that you know that's worked with them. Check the reviews, check what they do, and then, you know, but the best thing you could do, especially in the beginning, is just do the marketing yourself. But you have to see that you have to do it. And you need to do some research and teach yourself those skills. And then the other thing is they try running one Facebook ad or boosting a post or something and say it doesn't work. It's like, dude, no, it's not that it didn't work. It's that you didn't do it right. Okay? So make sure you figure out what you're doing. But you got to have sales, and you have to have predictable sales. and learn how to bring those leads in and close them if you're going to have a good business. All right, next one, too much debt. Now, this is a huge one that I've seen kill businesses. Payments on equipment, skid steers, trucks, all this other stuff, they build that up, and there's little room for error or unforeseen consequences. Unforeseen circumstances, like if they get sick, injured, all those other types of things. And I've personally seen this kill 2 businesses. All right, I'll talk about that in a second. And first of all, I just want to drop something that I forgot to say earlier. This is about, I built a landscaping business. I talked about a painting business. But all this stuff could apply to any type of service business, home-based service business. And honestly, many type of businesses, you could get value out of this. There's a lot of information, so just to throw that out there. But back to this point, too much debt. I've seen this happen. Let me give you a couple examples. One example, I remember there's this landscaping company, and all of a sudden they popped out of nowhere. You start seeing their trucks and their trailers with their logo on the side everywhere. You're like, man, who is this guy? And then he's got 2 crews, 3 crews, 4 crews, and they're just everywhere. And then all of a sudden, that guy, he's got multiple pieces of equipment, and he gets sick, and then he can't pay his payments to local suppliers for materials, for equipment. Next thing you know, the repo man's coming. They're coming to collect the equipment back, and the business is done. Closed up shop. Now, why did that happen? He grew too fast, too much debt, over-leveraged himself, and he got too big for his britches. Don't do that. Don't try to grow fast, take on a bunch of debt. I've just seen it kill people over and over again. Another business I've seen, very similar situation, not as drastic, but they started growing. Then they started getting brand new trucks. Next thing you know, they got 4 brand new trucks. They got 2 skid steers. They got 2 $15,000 mowers. Well, guess what? Some bad stuff happened. And then one thing that happened was one of the employees didn't change the oil on one of the ride-on mowers, and then that was 2 weeks past the deadline for the warranty expiring, and so then guess what? You're 15 grand in the hole. That's hard to recover from and to dig out of that. Then, some other thing happens. Someone rips a door off the truck, and all this stuff piles up. Now, wouldn't be as bad if you actually owned the equipment, owned the trucks, but since it's all debt, you're in an even worse situation, and you're always obligated to make payments no matter what. No matter what happens in your business, they want that payment, and that debt is hanging over your head, and it's stressing you out, and it's going to choke you out if you don't keep up with it. Okay? So again, don't grow too fast with too much debt. It's going to kill you, and it might not happen right away. I've seen this happen with one of the situations where over a couple years, you could see it weighing down on this business owner, slowly killing him to where he doesn't even look like and act like the same person anymore because of all this stuff hanging over his head. Then when he finally got out of it, he had to shut down the business, he completely felt better. Okay? So, too much debt, don't do that. That's why I started out at the beginning with so little overhead. You're like, oh man, how'd you do it out of the back of the car? Because I didn't want any loans. Nothing. Not for a car, a truck, not for equipment, for nothing. And just build up that cash. Bring in that profit. Start stacking that cash. Build up your bank account until you can afford. And then as soon as you need something and you need to buy something, when you can afford it, buy it. Okay? Next point. Inability to attract and keep high-quality employees. Ooh, boy. This is a controversial one, right? Because you hear a lot of guys go, oh man, there's no one to work. Can't find anyone to work. No one wants to work. No, either they don't want to work, they don't have good work ethic, or everyone's on drugs and all this other type of stuff. Now, of course, I'm going to tell you that, yeah, there is a problem. And a lot of people who are in the trades are on drugs, for sure, 100%. And there's a lack of work ethic today, for sure. But that doesn't mean they don't exist. Now, on the employer side, what are they doing wrong that I've seen? Well, first of all, refusal to pay them more. I have seen this, and I even saw some big YouTuber guy, and he's like, oh, employees, you give them a little bit of a raise, they're just going to go waste the money and throw it away. And what they really need is respect. No, dude, they need more money. And how insulting is that to say that about employees? Oh, they're just going to waste it like they're just a bunch of idiots. Okay, give me a break. Yeah, they need more money. And if you want hardworking, talented individuals to work for your company, you need to appreciate them and pay them more money and treat them better. You need to just say thank you to them every once in a while for what they do. Offer incentives for them if they're doing things for your company. If they put in extra effort, give them some bonuses, things like that. That all helps to attract and maintain, keep good quality employees. People who say I can't find any workers. Well, maybe that's because they saw that you're a jerk, or they heard it. Or maybe, you made a video online and social media saying you want workers, but you're complaining, right? I can't find anyone to work. Well, dude, hear you complaining already. Who wants to work for you? You just sound negative and nobody wants to be around you. Okay? So a lot of times as business owners think like they can do no wrong and none of it is their fault. Well, yeah, it is your fault. Okay? And so there's your problem. Here's another one. Trying to cut corners with customers to save money. Instead of going above and beyond to build a loyal customer base and referral network that will carry you for years purely based on reputation. Okay? And unfortunately, especially in the trades, there's some scam contractors that try to cut corners, rip off customers, and do all kinds of really shady tactics, and it's terrible. I do not recommend you do that, not only because it's the wrong thing to do, but also because eventually it's going to catch up to you and you're going to get caught. And then next thing you know, you're going to end up on the news as one of those scam contractors that they chase down and investigating, right? But anyways, you shouldn't do that. You go above and beyond. You take care of the customer. You do a good job every time. It's going to pay off. You're going to build a referral network. You're going to build raving fans, and they're going to tell everyone they know. They're going to recommend you, your company. Okay, you're building a reputation, so don't try to do that to cut corners. Next is failure to organize, build systems and protocols. That's another thing too. Disorganization can be a big killer. You need to be able to you need to create clear-cut rules and enforce them for employees. If they don't know what they should be doing and you're not enforcing them, it can cause a lot of problems. Let me just give you one example real quick. You need to say, hey, that work starts at 7:30 in the morning, let's say. If people are standing around and for a half an hour every morning, well, now add that up. Now you got 2.5 hours every week. Multiple employees are wasting. It builds up over time. Next thing you know, you're losing a lot of money. The other type of rules, you need to say, this is exactly what is expected of you. If you don't do this, you're going to get in trouble. But when it's a kind of a free-for-all, then you're going to create so many different problems, you're not going to know how to deal with it. It contributes also to inconsistent results, wasted time, wasted materials, wasted money. Here's one example for wasting time and money and materials. Let's say you went to go buy a brand new roll of landscape fabric when you already had 3/4 of a roll at the shop, but it was a mess, so you couldn't find it. Now you just wasted money, wasted time, wasted fuel, and this is a slow and stressful business death, right? And I've seen that happen as well. The shop is a mess, your trailer, whatever it is, tools and supplies everywhere. Every time you have leftover materials, they just get thrown in there, and then instead of going and finding the material that you already had, you go and buy new stuff. Well, guess what? Now you're bleeding out. You're wasting money. And it might not seem like much at first, but over time, you're wasting more and more. It builds up, and you're slowly killing your business. And again, without the rules and the organized building systems, you should build a system and protocol of this is how we do something every single time. Write it down. Explain to everybody. Have a meeting and say, hey, this is how we do this specific thing, this task, this job every single time. We do it this way. And that's how you get consistent results. Otherwise, one crew does one job, and then the next time someone else does it, and it's done differently. That should not be happening. It should be done the same way every time. And if you want customers to be happy. And then last one, a huge killer. One of the biggest killers of a business is underbidding jobs. And one of the ways that the reasons that people underbid jobs is failure to incorporate overhead into estimates. Okay, they fail to do that. Overhead, you could think of it like this. Think about, for instance, you're in business, you do a bunch of jobs all year, and then throughout the course of that time, you buy a bunch of tools. Okay, well, throughout that year, you spend all that money on the tools. What you should do is take the total amount that you spent on those tools and divide it up into your estimates and your hourly rate, and you should be incorporating that extra cost into the hourly rate that you're in the bids or the daily rate that you're charging in your jobs. Otherwise, you're not even accounting for potentially hundreds or thousands of dollars that you're spending. You're not even putting it into your estimate, and you're not making as much money as you thought you did. So you got to know your numbers. And then another thing people do is just awful, especially in the beginning. They lowballing just to get more jobs. And if you do that, you will hate yourself and die from stress by underbidding. Do not get in the habit of that. And that's one of the things I did right from the beginning of my business. And, it doesn't build the business as fast if you do that. And that's why I had, part-time job at the beginning, and in the winter, multiple part-time jobs to fill in the gaps, because it wasn't building the business as fast in the beginning. But if you stick with that, you're going to have high-quality customers, high-profit jobs, instead of getting this low-ball garbage and underbidding jobs and killing yourself to make chump change and barely squeak by. You do not want to do that. That will kill you, and you will destroy your business and your mental health. Okay? So, those are some of the biggest business killers. Like I said, there could be more we could talk about, but those are some to watch out for. Now let's get into mindset. If you do not have a very strong work ethic and cannot motivate yourself, then don't even think about starting a business. Okay? That's the number one thing. If you're not one of the hardest worker, if not the hardest worker, if you being an employee, don't even think about it. Okay? There's no one that's going to be in your business to motivate you, to tell you, oh, guys, let's get up and go work today. That's not going to happen. No one's going to show up to motivate you. No one's going to push you. You got to push yourself. You got to have that strong work ethic in you already, because owning a business isn't a breeze, especially starting and building one. It takes a lot of work. So be ready to work. Here's a couple other things that people need to hear. Do not listen to any, no matter how much you love them, friends, family, or coworkers who have not built a successful business. No offense to any of them, no disrespect, but they have no clue what they're talking about. And I know that people love acting like they know what they're talking about, but they don't. Okay? They don't know what they're talking about unless they've done it. The only people you should be listening to are people that have already built successful businesses and know what they're doing. That's it. Remove any negative people from your life who would discourage you, okay? You're making an important decision for your life to start a business, and you do not need to tolerate anyone being negative who try to discourage you, say, oh, do you really want to do that? Oh, that's risky, blah, blah, blah. Don't listen to them at all, okay? You got to cut them out, and it's like, sorry, I can't even listen to that. Next point is do not get stuck in paralysis by analysis and info gathering mode. Again, a big danger. You could get stuck forever doing that, waiting and waiting and waiting to start a business. Oh, I got to learn more. I got to get everything 100% perfect, and I have to know every single thing before I start a business. Well, guess what? You're never going to start it. At some point, you got to take action. Now, you have to know a little bit about what you're talking about. Obviously, you should have, plenty of experience in your field, in your trade, whatever it is that you do before you start a business. You should be an expert in what you do. But before you start a business, learn some information about sales and marketing, those types of things. But don't think you have to be perfect. There comes a time where you got to take action. And a quote that I made up here is, consistent, imperfect action is better than a perfect plan never executed. Okay? You can come up with a perfect business plan in your head, but if you never do it, you never take action, nothing's going to happen. And the guy that goes out there and takes action, and it may not be perfect, he's going to get more accomplished than you do every day of the week. So make sure you think about that. Okay, like I said, obviously you need to be prepared before you jump in, but there comes a time you just need to take action, learn as you go. But do always be learning. Always be learning. Audiobooks, podcasts, videos, etc. All that other type of stuff, that's very important. If you're a business owner, you gotta be educating yourself. Books are one of the best things because you can listen to that while you're driving. You got time on your way to estimates and stuff. Pop those audiobooks on in the car while you're driving, while you're taking a shower, those types of things, because you may not have a lot of free time, but you can multitask by listening to an audiobook or podcast while you're doing other things. But also a warning would be watch out for scam or outdated sales and marketing gurus. I'm not going to drop any names because they'll probably sue me or threaten to take down the video that's happened before. But if you want to know some, plenty of examples, you could check out the YouTube channels CoffeeZilla, and another one is Mike Winnett on YouTube, especially his Contrepreneur series. You watch those guys on YouTube, see what to look for. They expose these scam artists, sales and marketing guys. They've exposed a ton of them, exposed their techniques and methodologies that they suck people in and rip them off. Please go watch them, and you figure out what to look out for. And as far as some recommendations, I've read a ton and listened to a ton, watched a ton, but I'm just going to recommend a few. I'm sure there's more out there that are pretty good, but these I found are some of the best, the most helpful resources that you should definitely listen to or watch. First for business is the book The E-Myth. And then they came out with a newer edition, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. That's a really great book for business. I recommend everyone listen to that. Then he has another, a bunch of other E-Myth books related to specific businesses like the E-Myth landscape contract, all those other type of things. But the central book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, and one of the main things that's important about that he teaches, the E-Myth, is that, people they're an employee, they get sick and tired of working for their boss, and they have what he calls an entrepreneurial seizure, where they're like, forget this, I'm going to go work for myself, but they don't have really what it takes, and they don't understand what it takes to start a business, and that they have to have not only, that they are the technician, right? Because most people who start a business, they're just a technician, which means they're an expert at doing a particular thing. Like they're an expert at doing plumbing, electrical, landscaping, some other type of skill, but they need the two other personalities to run a business, which includes the entrepreneur personality and the manager. Okay, and you need to combine all three of those together in order to be a successful business owner. Great book to listen to, and then or read. And then another one I recommend is all of Patrick Bet-David business videos on the Valuetainment YouTube channel. Patrick Bet-David, I've watched for a long time, for many years. He's huge now. He's all over everywhere. He does a lot of interviews with people. But back in the day, he had some of the best business videos explaining about sales, marketing, running a business, about money and taxes and all kinds of stuff like that. Very, very high quality videos. The guy doesn't have fluff. He just gives you pure value. And he's I don't think he's a phony. I don't think he's a scam artist. I think he just gives the truth. And I like that about that guy. So I recommend his material. And then as far as sales goes, like I said, I've read a lot of the stuff. A lot of the most popular guys I do not like. Like I said, I'm not going to drop any names. But here's who I do recommend. Oren Klaff. Oren Klaff books. He's got some books. One's Pitch Everything, and then he's got a newer one. But this guy, once you read his stuff, you're going to see why most of the other stuff is outdated or really doesn't work. Really good stuff on sales and understand framing and those types of things. And then the other guy he's called UK's most hated sales trainer. He has some videos on YouTube. He has some of the best material on cold calling, on getting on the phone and selling. He just really cuts out all the garbage out there. He shows you some of the myth in sales, why a lot of the sales training is garbage, and why a lot of sales guys are failing. Very good material with him. And then another one is marketing. Just got a few there. One-page marketing plan. That's a great book. And Jeb Blount books. He has some great stuff. And a bunch of his books are really good. And then 80-20 Sales and Marketing by Perry Marshall. That's one of the best books that I've read, and very good one to read or listen to. Get down the 80-20 rule. And then, honestly, for marketing, a lot of stuff you can teach yourself online. There's a lot of good free resources about teaching yourself search engine optimization, SEO, or how to run Google ads, stuff like that. Actually, LinkedIn has courses that you can take and to get certifications on how to do those types of things. There's so many free resources. There's no reason why you can't teach yourself the basics of SEO and those types of things. Okay? So those are some of the recommendations for business, sales, and marketing resources. And then here's a couple other mindset things. Do not ever get the know-it-all mentality. You can always learn more, improve your skills. And that's what happens a lot, unfortunately, to some business owners. They just get this know-it-all, you can't tell me anything attitude, even though there's clear examples of some things that aren't working, that are failing, but they don't want to listen to any suggestions for things to improve. They just don't want to hear it. Well, sorry, then you're just going to have to bash your head in the wall and continue to make these mistakes and suffer the consequences. But you don't want to be that type of guy. Don't be a know-it-all. Always be learning, improving your skills, and growing. And solidify the mindset of no one is going to save me and bail me out. I am the only one that can solve my problems. Okay? You got to get that up right off the bat, that no one's going to bail you out. No one's going to come solve a problem. If you get stuck with something on a job with the customer and these types of things, you are the only one that can figure that out. Now you can go research and look at some resources, whatever it is, but you need to figure out every problem that you have. And once you get that mentality that, you believe you will find the solution, then you're going to be a lot better off. You are the boss. You are the owner, the employee, the management, and every other position you can think of. You're everything, in the beginning at least. You must have the mentality of figuring everything out yourself. There is always a solution. That's what you must think. There's always a solution. You just have to find it. Being negative and complaining will help nothing, except make yourself and anyone else around you miserable. It's not going to solve the problem. It's not going to help anything. So look for the solution. And one final thing about mindset, someone who has a habit of blaming others for problems is not a good leader and should not be a business owner. You should have the mentality of taking responsibility for everything. And that's something, right, that like Jocko Willink talks about, extreme ownership, those types of things. If you're going to be that type of guy, you're just going to blame everyone else. Don't even think about starting a business, because it's just not going to work out. And you're going to hurt yourself and hurt others, and it's not going to end well for you. Okay? So you take responsibility for everything. Don't blame anyone else but yourself. It's your business. All right, so let's get past the mindset and get into some of the nitty-gritty. Next point, working a part-time job to start. Now, this is what will help you to avoid going too fast and getting into debt and trying to get a business loan. In my first year, I worked part-time for a moving company and scheduled the landscaping jobs for the days I would not be working for the moving company. Okay? So every week I'd be like, all right, what's the schedule for next week for moving? And then find out the days. And then I would, talk to customers and schedule jobs to just do the days that I wasn't moving. And that way you can build out a schedule and fill your week with working the job and doing the business at the same time. And over time, you start to build more customers, and you can just, and you go, oh, well, what if I have 1 week where I have to work my other job all week? All right, then just push things out another week,
a little bit farther. You just tell people that you want to book jobs with that, hey, I'm super busy next week or for the next 2 weeks, and you book it out farther. No big deal. In fact, it looks good when you're busy. And also, the first winter that I worked, I started my business, I worked 3 jobs to get through the winter. I worked for a moving company, I did snow plowing, and I did metal roofing in New England in the winter, in the snow and ice. That's right. So you do whatever it takes to get through, to get it done. If you want to build this business, like I said, no excuses, no blaming anyone else. Find a solution. You go, oh, man, landscaping jobs dried up in November. Yeah, that's what happens every year. Oh, the snow plowing isn't consistent. I know. So go do something else. That's why I added in the moving and the metal roofing. Okay? Also, go through anything that you have you may be able to sell on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist to make ends meet. Whatever you got to do, make it work. Any way to bring in extra cash, always be hustling, trying to figure something out until you build that business off the ground and it's sustainable. All right, so now let's get into setting up the business. First of all, how should you set it up? Well, the easiest way to set it up is called a sole proprietor. And you use a DBA, which means doing business as, which is you find a name that you can do the business under. And all you got to do is go online, whatever your particular state is. I was in New Hampshire, and you just look into the database that they have you look up to find out if anyone else has that name. Make sure no one else has that name. You pick out that name. Usually you pay a fee, maybe $50, whatever it is. And then you file the paperwork to become the sole proprietor. You don't even need to get an EIN number. You can if you want, but you can use your social security number for that. And then after that, you're in business. It's really not that hard unless you're in a state that has more regulations. So just do your research and figure out what you need to do. It's usually not that hard to set up a business. And then as far as an LLC goes, I've done that before too, a single member LLC. Generally speaking, you don't need to do that unless you're hitting over $70,000 a year. So maybe you want to wait until after your second year doing that. You could talk to some other people. I'm not offering technical financial advice here or anything like that. Talk to a CPA, whoever it is, to get advice on that. Pick a name that is memorable, not a bunch of letters. You see a lot of that in businesses. They're like JPM, plumbing and landscaping, whatever it is. Try to put some more thought into that instead of just coming up with the initials of your name. It definitely helps with branding. And then also try to pick something that's not your name, because if there ever comes a day when you want to sell the business, you're selling a customer base and a brand name. Make it so it's not your name and build up the brand. All right. And then next thing you need is a business checking account. So after you file the paperwork to become a sole proprietor, bring that paperwork with you to the bank, set up a business checking account, and make sure also something that helps is make sure they have mobile deposit. A lot of banks do, but just make sure they do, because you want to be able to deposit checks as quickly as you get them, because cash flow is very, very important when you constantly have to buy materials and all these other types of expenses. You want to make sure you get money in your business account as fast as possible. So you should be able to do mobile deposit, take a picture of the check, sign it, send it in. So once you set up as a sole proprietor, pick a name, business checking account. Then also one other thing is buy everything related to the business only with the business debit card, okay? So try not to use your own personal debit or credit to buy anything related to the business. Only use the business debit card. Now I said debit, not credit, because we're trying not to do any credit right off the bat, okay? So you got money in the bank, you got a business debit card. Anytime you got to get tools, material, fuel, only use the business debit card. Then when it comes time to track all your expenses, the only thing in your statements, your bank statements, is going to be business expenses. A lot easier to keep track of it. Okay? On to the next section, because that's pretty much what you need to set up besides, We'll talk about tools and then marketing to set up, getting a logo and those types of things. We'll get to that section. Now, tools, again, every business is going to be different. You could be doing power washing, whatever. It's like, okay, yeah, go. You need a power washer. You need some you need some protective clothing, whatever. But start with the basics. If you're doing landscaping, for example, get a blower, weed whacker, chainsaw, power pruner, whatever, basic hand tools. But here's the thing. Only get what you need. Buy new stuff only when you need it. Don't go get ahead of yourself and buy all kinds of things that you think you're gonna need. Don't do that. Just wait till you get the job. You could even go to an estimate, get a job, and you don't even have the tools or equipment to do it. But as soon as you're done there, you can go and buy exactly what you need. Buy the new tool, buy the new piece of power equipment. But if you don't, you could end up wasting money if you try to anticipate what you're going to need. You might not even get jobs related to that piece of equipment. Okay, so don't get ahead of yourself. Only buy it when you need it. And another thing about quality of tools and equipment, it's okay to cheap out a little bit in the beginning, but invest in better tools and power tools as soon as you can that will last longer. Okay, maybe at the beginning you don't have that much money, but as soon as you can, go get some better quality stuff, because it's just going to start to, you're going to start to lose money if you're getting rakes and shovels that are going to break and snap when you're, abusing them and using them every day, every week. You want to get some higher quality stuff. And, when I did this out of the back of my car, it fit all my tools, power tools, fuel, and etc. in the back of my car. And then someone might ask, how'd you fit a wheelbarrow in the back of your car? Well, first I started using tarps. Sometimes I'd use customer wheelbarrows or a skid steer to move material until I could buy, I had enough money to buy a folding wheelbarrow that fit in the back of the car, actually. Yeah, I found this really cool aluminum folding wheelbarrow with 2 wheels, and it held a bunch of material. I hauled crushed stone with that, stone base, even bigger Pennsylvania stone, wall stone. And so, that was it. Folded up flat, and I threw that in the back of the car. So, again, that's just the mentality of you figure out a solution and try to make it work the best that you can. Keep the overhead as low as possible. And then, when you get to the point you want to buy a truck, great, go ahead. You want to get better equipment, then do it. But just wait till you have the money. That's it. That's all I'm saying. This is for starting with nothing. Maybe you got bad credit. Maybe you can't get a loan. Well, you can still do something. All right, on to materials. So how do you handle materials, especially if you don't have a truck? Well, here's how you do it. You can pick up small stuff like staples and fabric and all these other types of things, but everything else gets delivered. I got everything else delivered. That's all you got to do. Call the material centers, and you get crushed stone, loam, mulch, everything you can think of delivered on site. Wall stone, pavers, retaining wall blocks, anything can get delivered. Make sure you call around to compare pricing, different supply yards. You can find quarries, pits. Try to find obscure stuff, maybe a little bit farther out of town that has way better prices when you buy in bulk. Find your favorite places and see if there are contract or discounts as well. Tell them you're a business. Build good relationships with them. And always pay right away. Again, I don't recommend building up a tab because, like I said, you could be like that guy. You get injured, you get sick, you can't pay the tabs. Next thing you know, they're coming after you and your business is in deep trouble. Okay? So I would just pay them for the materials right away. And that's why I get deposits from customers right up front, so I can pay for all the materials up front, and I don't ever have to worry about running a tab with anybody. So as soon as I'm done a job, I don't owe anyone anything. Avoid running up a tab. That's how businesses get in trouble. A couple wrong moves, and you can have a lot of people coming after you for non-payment. Okay? And some of them do seem like they're in the mafia, and they want to break your shins, just to warn you. Some of them get very, very angry. Okay? So you better watch out. Also, know if the amount of material ordered is usually accurate or not. and adjust your estimates. Okay, sometimes yards overload the buckets and you get 5 yards of material when you order 3. Yeah, and you might go, oh, what's the big deal about that? I got more than I paid for. Well, if you get that dumped on the ground and don't use it all, you will have to shovel the rest off the ground and to get rid of it, which adds time and labor, okay? You only need 3, but you dump 5. Well, guess what? Now you got to sit there, shovel it, get rid of it. Maybe you can't even keep it at the customer's house and you got to take it back with you. Well, how are you going to do that? Okay, you're going to get yourself into trouble. So make sure you know, generally speaking, what they give you when you order material. Also, another thing is schedule your jobs and estimates to factor in possible delay in delivery of materials. Try to get material delivered the day before you will be on site if possible, okay? Because sometimes if you're doing a job and you're thinking that, well, you know, I'll schedule delivery of 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll start working right after that. I get the skid steer there, and I'm going to do all this work. Well, guess what? Next thing you know, 3 hours goes by and they're not there. And then all of a sudden you hear from them, oh, sorry, we had a delay and blah, blah, blah. And then you're sitting around and you can't even work for 3 hours. You don't want to be doing that, wasting time, wasting money. Especially if you paid a bunch of money to rent a piece of equipment, now you're in deep trouble. Okay, so if you can, try to get the material beforehand, before you get equipment there and you're on site. Okay, so some of those things. And again, this is my experience from landscape construction. You could apply this to other types of businesses. Take it or leave it. Next thing is equipment. Again, I got all that delivered. I didn't have a truck, didn't have a trailer, so I got skid steers delivered. You can get other things delivered. Sometimes I got a tiller, and I put that in the back of my car. Went to Home Depot, get a tiller. Other pieces of equipment you can have delivered, have them drop it off. Always call equipment rental when doing estimates for most up-to-date pricing and availability before giving a quote. Because you might go to give a quote and think about the price that you got it for last time. Guess what? You call them up and they change the price. Happens all the time. So make sure you got to call and check every time. Next point is know the usual arrival times of equipment to schedule out your day. Again, you never know when they're going, the consistency. Call them, ask them what time do they think. If there's a window of time, you got to make sure that you factor that in when you're scheduling out your day to do the job. And then here's another thing. If you're starting out in this low budget business, right? Don't be intimidated about customers asking about rental equipment costing more, right? Like, oh, I didn't know you're going to rent. You heard people say this before. Oh, I didn't know you're going to rent a piece of equipment. So does that mean I'm getting charged more money? I wish you would have told me, blah, blah, blah. Okay, explain to them this. Explain to them that even if you owned the equipment, you would still have to charge the same amount of money as there are monthly payments, maintenance, and other overhead costs associated with the equipment. And that's true. It's 100% fact. Okay? We would do jobs, even companies I worked with before, it's like, the skid steer is going to be there. Well, that's automatically $250 just for being on site. It doesn't matter. And it's not a rental. It's just for having it there. It's so expensive. There's payments, there's maintenance, there's all the kinds of things you have to do and buy to keep these things maintained. And you have to factor that in if you want to make any money in business. So don't let them intimidate you with that. Explain to them, yeah, that's how business works. And rental isn't going to cost them any more money. You're not overcharging them. And then also one other tip is make friends with the delivery drivers and rinse off equipment when you are done. Make sure it's left in a nice spot. Rinse it. Take good care of equipment. If you want them to treat you well, drop things off, pick it up at a good time, prioritize you as a customer. You make sure you take care of things yourself as well and fuel things up when you're done with them. Okay? Those are some of the tips with the equipment. If you I didn't put this in here, but if you own equipment, just make sure you're always maintaining it. Make sure you're greasing all the fittings, changing the filters. All those are the types of things, taking care of it, monitoring everything, and being careful with it. Because why cost yourself extra money just because due to neglect or damaging a piece of equipment when you spent so much money on it. There's no point in ruining it after you already invested in that. All right, so some points about that. Next is marketing. What about marketing? Well, here's some of the basics. First is logo. You need a logo, okay? And don't be drawing it on the back of a napkin and making it in Microsoft Paint. That's not good enough. It looks like trash, so don't even try to pass it off, okay? Pay for a logo to be professionally designed. Do not make some jacked up DIY logo. Don't do it. It doesn't look good. I don't care what you think. Make one that looks nice. It's going to help you and your brand for your business. Next, cards and yard signs. Got to make those. One of the easiest things you can get for marketing. If you go to Vistaprint, it's super easy to go on there. You get your logo done. You put your logo on cards and yard signs. Design some simple stuff. Make it simple and easy to read. But just put your logo on there, your name, phone number, email, website. Maybe on the back of the card a list of basic services, what you do. And yard signs are always good if you're working somewhere or you did a great job. Ask the customer if you can put a yard sign out front. Start leaving cards everywhere. Ask if the different businesses if you can post them on cork boards and anywhere like that. Leave them with customers. Cards and yard signs very important, but also digital. Okay, website is really important to have a website. Don't let anyone tell you you shouldn't. That's old school. It's time to get with the times. You need one, and you need one that looks good. If you can't make your own that looks good, pay someone to make one that looks professional. And you don't need a lot of money. You don't need to pay $1,500, $5,000 for some crazy website. Just start off with something basic. Someone I can recommend, I used and recommend Funnelbolt.com to easily make a one-page site, which looks great. They have templates and drag and drop setups to where you can build a one-page website that looks really good, and it helps to, get customers. I'm going to talk about SEO in a second, but one of the things that, let me just give you a few tips I didn't put in here. I just thought of right now if you want a good website. Here's some of the most important things you want to have on a website right off the bat. First of all, you want to have a phone number that's click to call. Don't put a phone number that someone has to manually type in. It's going to be less people that are going to call you. Okay? Get one to where it's hooked up to where you just click it and automatically brings it up on the phone, because over 50% of people are going to be coming to your website through their phone, through mobile. Over 50%. Next thing is make sure the website, again, is mobile responsive, which means when you look at the website on the computer, it looks one way, but when you look at it on the laptop, the website changes to make it so the website looks better on a cell phone. It'll actually change how the words and the pictures are set up and integrated. And you want to make sure it's mobile responsive. Again, that's going to affect people who go on your website from a phone. They're going to go, oh, this looks like trash. It's all going to increase the amount of people that are going to call you, the more customers you're going to get. So click to call, mobile responsive. Make sure you have the contact, your phone number, click to call a couple times on the page. Easy to contact you. Some good pictures, some reviews, those types of things. And it's pretty simple. Search engine optimization. Most important thing to do with your website is SEO. There's so much information out there for free on SEO that you can teach yourself the basics pretty quick. You can, absolutely. Factor in SEO when you're making your website and thinking about keywords for your local area. Now, one of the big mistakes people do is they try to stuff all the different towns in their area at the bottom of the page, the website. That doesn't work. You actually need to make a different page for each town if you're going to do that. But what you want to do is just focus on the biggest town in your area that you want to focus on, the name of your business in that town, and in the meta description, those types of things. And if you look it up, you can see what you need to do for SEO. But you can get, if you need help, try to find someone who's an expert in that. But it's something that you definitely have to do. Google is one of the biggest things, most important things if you have a business, especially local service-based business. I mentioned SEO. And this is what you need to focus on to move your website up in the rankings on Google. Okay? That's what SEO is. The goal is to get when people search for your type of business in the local area, you want your website to pop on page number 1, because anything past page number 1 is drastically going to reduce the amount of people that are going to call you. Okay? So SEO helps you to get in the first page of Google. It is important to properly set up and keep updated your Google My Business profile. Now they're actually switching Google My Business to be managed through Google Maps, but same thing. Make sure you keep that updated with make sure all the information is accurate about your business, up-to-date pictures, and all those other types of things. Make sure you keep that maintained. And then once you rank on page 1 of Google in your local area, the jobs will stream in. So that's one of the best long-term investments. Okay, because what you got to understand is the best long-term investment for marketing for your business is building a website and then investing in SEO to rank the business in your local area. Try to move it up to page 1, getting a bunch of 5-star reviews, and that's how you're going to get business. And, short term, you could get jobs right away by running some ads on Google, Facebook ads, whatever it may be. That's short term, and you might get a bunch of leads right off the bat. A lot of them are going to be tire kickers and low quality, so you're going to pay money for that too. It's more money. But in the long-term investment, the best thing is to invest in a website and SEO on Google for a local business. And then when you're getting started, right off the bat, Craigslist actually easiest way to get jobs in the beginning. And I know there's a lot of scams on there and dealing with some shady people, but you can't beat it. As far as a cheap way to post some ads, $5 an ad, pay to post an ad in multiple different sections like skilled trade, small business, labor, farm and garden, different sections like that. Post the same one in different sections and just give a brief description of your business, your experience, what you offer for services, contact information, some pictures, all those are the types of things. And that's how you can get some jobs right off the bat. Be careful with those, especially people trying to lowball you. A lot of people will try to lowball you, but do not cave into the pressure. In the beginning, it's okay to charge a little bit lower when you're just first getting started. That's okay. Just don't go too low, okay? If you feel like someone is sketchy, then walk away from the job. You don't have to take it. It's not worth the stress and possibly having them try to pull something on you, okay? Yeah, you got to be careful of that. Like you go agree with someone to do a job, and then they say they're going to pay you at the end cash or something, and then at the end you finish the job and then they don't pay you. Well, you got to watch out for that. So make sure you got to be able to read people, and so that's one of the things. You got to be a judge of character. See how people are. Maybe even do some research and try to find some information about that person online before you work for them. So that's a word of caution about Craigslist. But you can, and I have gotten jobs from that in the beginning to get you off the ground. All right, and then Facebook, other social media. Facebook, build and maintain a business page, post pictures from the jobs, answer messages quickly. Try to respond as quickly as you can. You can post on a personal page. Also, if you have a personal Facebook page, to announce the business and pictures once in a while, but don't be annoying with your business. No one cares about your business like you do, okay? If you're posting every day on your personal Facebook page about your business and all the stuff you're doing, honestly, most people don't care. That's just the facts of reality. Most people don't care about your business like you do. So every once in a while, you got some really cool picture you want to share. Boom, check this out. Then people can, say, oh man, I got some work I need done. Fine. But don't keep doing it all the time and don't overdo it. But you should post consistently on the Facebook business page. You want to have all your pictures, updated pictures on Google, on Facebook, and then the next one I'm talking about is Instagram. Post all your pictures here. It's much easier. It's faster too. Before you could even update your website with the latest pictures, you can drop all your pictures as soon as you're done a job on Instagram. Post all the pictures there, make them look as nice as possible. You can use the editor to kind of change the shading a little bit, whatever it is. And then also follow fellow contractors in your field, other business owners. It helps to build up your followers. They'll follow back, and you can help like other people's pictures and build up a following, and that will help you to build some reputation in pictures, because customers check out all these things. They will go look at your website. They'll look at your Instagram. They'll look at Facebook. They will look into you before they call you. And you never know what people are looking at before they contact you. Or if they never contacted you, may never know why. So you want to give them as many reasons as possible to call you and pick you over someone else. Okay? And pictures and also video are some of the best things that you can do. Have as much as possible to show people your work. Okay? And before you even start a business, you're like, well, what am I going to do? Take pictures of work that you've done while you're working for someone else. Save up as much pictures and video as you can while you're working for someone else. Okay? And build up a folder with that. Moving on to sales and estimates. Everyone's favorite topic. Okay, everyone asked about estimates. We'll get to that. But let's get to sales. I'm going to go through the process, starting all the way at the beginning of an inbound lead. All right? So let's get into it. No matter where the lead comes from, it doesn't matter if it comes in through email, text message, Facebook message, you need to respond as soon as possible. There have been studies done about the response times to leads, and the chance of closing a lead drops dramatically after 5 minutes of not responding to someone. They will simply contact the next company until they get an answer. That is a fact. You can go look this up. There's been studies done by Harvard Business School, I believe, and they show the lead response time after the first 5 minutes, it drops like something crazy, like 90%. The chances of getting a hold of that person. Okay? So as soon as someone contacts you, even if you can't do a full conversation to talk about everything right away, at least just respond and say, hey, thank you for contacting me. I'd like to talk to you as soon as possible. What's a good time to talk? Or I can talk with you later tonight, and tell them a time, but at least respond. Okay? And try to hop on a phone call with them as soon as possible to see what they need done. But like I said, if you don't, they'll simply just call the next company until they get an answer. And that's what people do. They'll sit there, call one company, they don't pick up, boom, they'll just call someone else right away. Keep doing that until someone picks up. And oftentimes, the person they go with is just the person that answers. And the person that shows up and comes to their house. Seriously, that's what happens a lot of times. A lot of contractors can't even be reached easily by customers. And I know that for a fact because I've done it myself. When I was doing digital marketing, I called contractors around the country. Roofing contractors, dentists, chiropractors, but mostly in the trades, roofers and dentists, electricians and others, painters, and they didn't even pick up the phone or didn't even call back. And I can't imagine how much money they're losing. You know? So pick up the phone, get back to people as soon as possible. Next, on the phone. Whenever you're on the phone, have a notebook in front of you and write everything down. Always have a notebook with you, even on the job site. Make sure you have that with you everywhere you go. Always have a notebook to write things down. So you want to take down all the information, everything that you need. Be friendly. And you might think, why do I need to say be friendly? Well, believe it or not, there's a lot of guys that pick up the phone and they're not friendly. It's crazy. But dude, it's like, if you're not going to be friendly, you shouldn't even be in business. It's time to shut it down. Okay? If you own a business, you need to be friendly, professional. Most importantly, asking questions. You need to ask questions. You need to see if the job also is worth it. So you need to know what kind of questions to ask. And you need to see if this is something that you don't even want to do. You should try to find that out on the phone. You find out if the job is worth it, if you have the ability to do the job, and it is within good distance. Don't take on jobs you can't do. Some giant job. Oh yeah, I got some $100,000 job for you to do, and it's only you, and you don't even have the ability to do it, and it'll take you 2 years. It's like, dude, No, you say, sorry, I can't do that. You're going to have to go with someone else. So you got to figure that out. And also within good distance, you don't want to drive too far. You'll have to drive further in the beginning, but try to tighten the boundary of where you drive for jobs over time. Because the farther you drive away, it's going to be more gas, more time, more money. You're going to lose money driving farther away. But at the beginning, you might have to do that, but try to tighten up that boundary of your service area as time goes on. It's going to save you money. Here's some examples of questions that you should be asking customers when they call on the phone, a lead. Where are you located? What are you looking to have done? And also push a little for details if need be. Sometimes they're not exactly the clearest. Well, I just need to have, I want to have a walkway. It's like, okay, how long? Where do you want it? Is it in the front? Is it in the back? Do I need to take out the old one? Can I dump anything on site in the backyard? You need to ask these questions. And then ask them the timeline. When would you like this done by? When is a good time for you to come take a look at the property? Listen to their schedule, but also convey that you are busy as well and come up with a compromise. Do not come across as if you're sitting around waiting for a job, right? Don't be like, well, I can come anytime. No, you don't want to do that. Okay? Say, what's a good time for you? And they say, well, I'm free on Thursday and Friday afternoon or whatever. You say, okay, well, I think I'd have some time on Friday afternoon. That sounds a lot better than, oh, well, I can come right away on Thursday and, like you don't have anything better to do. And they go, okay, is this guy not have anything to do because he just, doesn't have any business and he's not working? You don't want to come across as that way at all. Okay? So, yeah, there you go. And when you're saying, when's a good time to come take a look, it's you get your foot in the door right there. And then after scheduling the estimate, write further thoughts and questions down. After the phone, you hang up the phone, write any further thoughts and questions down, write them right away. Immediately put the appointment in your phone with plenty of reminders. There is no excuse, none, to ever forget an appointment when you have a phone. Okay? Right away. Put it in your calendar, whatever reminders you need, and you will never miss an estimate, a job, anywhere you need to be. You should always be everywhere you need to be, never forgetting it. When you have a phone, you can just set it up all right there. Okay? Then when you get to the site, here's walkthrough on site. First of all, show up a few minutes early, but not too early. Some people actually get mad about that. Well, they said 5 o'clock. Why are they here at 4:30? And so you don't want to make people mad. Show just a little bit before because you don't want to be late. So just a little bit before you're supposed to be there. Have a clean, professional appearance. Button-up or polo shirt is preferred. Carry a notebook with you when you get out of the car, and then makes you look professional, and you're ready to go. And then when you interact with them, like I said, I'm providing everything you need, guys, every detail. When you greet them, quick handshake and greeting, firm but not too firm. Or if they don't want a handshake, then don't do it. You'll see if they put their hand out. Don't put your hand out unless they do. But do not get sidetracked with talking. You don't want to get too deep into that. Let them show you the job right away. Just be like, all right, hey, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. And then just kind of stand there with your notebook and let them go, okay, well, let me show you. Because that's what you need to get to right away. You don't even know if you want to do the job. Let them do most of the talking and do not interrupt with, oh, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, oh, yeah, we can do that. No, stop. Don't do that. Shut your mouth. Don't act like that. Don't be needy. Just be quiet and listen to what they want you to do. Exactly what they want you to do. Do not come across as a servant boy who will cater to their every whim. Being needy or desperate is the biggest sales killer. That is a fact. Do not come across as needy or desperate. You will kill the sale very quickly. You are a professional. You are a business owner. You don't even know if you want to do this job. You don't need them. They need you to do the job. And that's how you have to have your mentality. Okay? So you listen to what they want you to do. Ask the questions you need. Ask the questions that you need to understand exactly what they want done. And make sure you get the details of anything you're unsure about so there are no disagreements about what the job was later. But do not go crazy with the questions. You don't want to go too crazy, but make sure you get the detail, right? Like, oh, I want all these, I want all these trees cut down back here, right? And they say, okay, you want these trees cut down, but is it okay to leave a little bit of a few inches of a stump above the ground, or do you want it flush with the ground, flat? Just ask the little details like that, because you go to cut them all down and they go, oh, I wanted this flat. Well, that's not what you said. So make sure you ask them these details. And also, the details of the job will factor in more into how much it's going to cost. And maybe you want to come up with different options and say, well, if we do this, it's going to cost this. If you want to go even farther and be more detailed, it's going to be this much money. Give them options. If you see a better solution, offer it to them. Give them your reasons why. This will be an opportunity for you to do a flash roll of your knowledge to demonstrate what you're doing. Okay, flash rolls like, real quick, you are using terminology that demonstrates a vast understanding of your field, your industry, and you say, we're talking about drainage, irrigation, whatever it may be, this type of thing. You're doing a patio, or stone wall. You just really quickly talk about why you do certain things and why you would do things a certain way. How come you're going to dig down and you're going to do 6 inches of crushed stone and compact that, and how come you're going to, do 18 inches of crushed stone behind the wall, and all these other types of things. Tell them exactly why you would do that and how it differentiates you from someone else who may be cutting corners and doing things the wrong way. Say, this is why we do it this way. We charge this much because we do it the right way. This is what we do. This is why it costs this much. Okay, so you can explain that, and it'll show your experience, and which establishes authority, which helps them to trust you. Okay, and stand behind your statements with full confidence of your experience and knowing that you know more than the homeowner does. Don't let Harry homeowner act like he, question you. Oh, well, why are you doing that? Oh, why wouldn't you just do this? Listen, he doesn't know. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't. You have done this for years. You have been through this. You've been through many different scenarios. Don't let them undercut your experience and confidence in that. You stand behind it and say, actually, sir, this is why this is done this way. And they either accept it or they don't. If you don't like or want to do the job, then do not take it. You will regret doing the job if they are shady, nitpicky, or stress you out. It's not worth it. Okay? It is not worth it dealing with some nitpicky person who's going to stress you out, watch you, over your shoulder the whole time, never going to be happy no matter what you do. You need to watch out for those people. Okay? So you need to be able to learn how to say no to jobs. And that helps you with that. You should have the mentality of, you know what, I don't need this job. At any time, I can just walk away from this estimate. I do not need it. You don't need them. They need you. Don't be needy and desperate. It is better to have less customers in the beginning, but higher quality, than a bunch of nitpicking people who don't want to pay what the job is worth. They don't want to pay for your knowledge, skills, and experience. They want everything for very little. Okay? Have patience and build a quality customer base that will take care of you long term and with less stress. Don't try to go with the instant gratification of lowballing to get low quality customers who don't even want to pay you for what you're worth. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Take the time, slowly build that quality customer base. Point about having conversation. When you're talking to a customer, a little small talk is okay. It helps people like you more, but do not go overboard. Some people get way too off track, talking about this, talking about that, and you know what? It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the customer. It doesn't help your business. And people think, oh, you talk to them more about all this other type of stuff. No, honestly, it gets to a point where you're wasting time. Okay? And time is money when you're in business, right? So, another thing is, a couple of things to avoid. Avoid politics and religion like the plague. Do not talk about those subjects with any customer. Very dangerous and could end up in a disagreement. And no point in talking about that. You're there to do a job. Avoid also getting too personal with information about your life. They don't need to know a lot about you, your personal life. Keep it out. You gotta set boundaries with customers. And you might like some customers, you might become friendly with them, but it really is a bad idea to become really close friends with them. Because if something happens and you have to make a decision based on business, it's going to be a lot worse. And then another comment I have to say about husband and wife dynamic. This might make some people mad, but oh well. There is a difference between men and women, sorry to tell you. And that's something you got to deal with in sales. Now, this is a skill developed over time. Many times the wife is the one that wants work done at the house. And so that's what happens with service-based businesses a lot of times, especially landscaping. And so your goal is to make her happy a lot of the times. Not every time, but a good amount of times. At the same time, you don't want to make the man feel disrespected because he is not doing it himself or running the show, quote unquote. It is a balancing act. Now, this might sound funny to some of you, but that's how it works. And you do want to have that balance. You don't want to make him feel like, oh, he's just a loser that has to pay someone to come do some job at the house. And, he might not have time. You never know. And but you just don't want to make him feel like that, like you heard it, you disrespect him. You got to balance that in between both of them. And there's a different approach in how you deal with the women and the men. With the women, the focus is on the appearance of things, how everything will look after, the colors, the living space. Oh, look at how it's going to look. And it's all these visuals and emotions and how everything's going to feel and all those other types of things and a lot more detail. The men don't care about that stuff as much. With the men, they usually don't care about any of that stuff as much as to just focus on the facts of the price, the justification for it, the timing, the process of doing the job, etc. They just stick with the facts. That's what the men want to know. How much is it going to be? How long is it going to take? What are you going to do? How are you going to do this? Do it the right way. When's this going to be done? Blah, 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 and all that type of stuff. So you just stick with the facts with them, hammer it. You're confident. You tell them, you show them, you know exactly what you're doing. You have a plan for exactly how you're going to get this thing done and what the results are going to be, and that's going to make him happy. And then the results and also you're showing him that you're going to do this certain thing that will make the wife happy, whatever it is. Now, obviously, there's all different types of dynamics. I've worked for many different types of people: single, not single, single, married, whatever, everything in between. I've worked for them. Okay? But this is just generally speaking, that's something that I've seen. But no matter what with anyone, just be straightforward and show them exactly what you're going to do. Demonstrate your experience and knowledge. Now, also, be very careful with ladies getting too friendly. Now, it's something I got to bring up. I've seen a bunch of this stuff. Be careful with ladies getting too friendly. Even if you're a single guy, it is a huge mistake to let that line be crossed. Keep it as professional as possible and don't feed into any, quote, hints. Big mistake. I don't care if you're a single guy. If you're trying to build a business, you don't want to cross that line. You're going to mess things up, because one of these days, if you're going to do that, you're going to cross the line and it's going to be the wrong person, and you're going to get in a whole mess of trouble. Don't do it. Keep away from that. Keep things professional. Be friendly, but not too friendly. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. One time at a company I was at, we actually lost an account because the guy that was mowing, the mower allowed the wife to spray him down with a hose, and someone must have saw it. Okay, it's a hot day. He's mowing the lawn. He comes around the side, and the woman asks if he wants to get sprayed down. She sprayed him down. Well, the husband must have got wind of it, because we lost that count right away, and next thing you know, he's mowing his own lawn and it's all jacked up. Okay, that stuff happens. One more thing, another customer seemed like a, quote, connected Russian guy, if you know what I mean, And, well, his wife was getting too friendly. Stay away and just focus on your job. That also happens as well. Be very careful of this type of thing. Okay? So just mind your business. Focus on the job. Don't get caught up in any side stuff with women or anything like that. And got to be careful. All right. Next is estimate. This is the part that a lot of people worry about. They're like, oh man, I don't know how do I know what to charge and all these other types of things. Well, let's get into it. First of all, before you even spend any time putting together a real estimate, you need to talk to the customer on site about their expectations. Ask them around how much they think the job will be, and then see if it is way too low. Okay, if their expectations are unrealistic, then you know you need to hightail it out of there. Throw out a ballpark number just to see their reaction. If they are okay with the ballpark number and don't freak out, then go ahead and do the real estimate. If they freak out, do not back down and discount. Offer a little explanation as to why the cost is what it is, and if they still don't accept that, then you walk away. Again, let me remind you, underbidding will kill you. Okay? If they have a reaction like you go, yeah, so, this will probably be around, the $600 range, or whatever. Like if they're like, whoa, I didn't think it was be that much, but whatever. And then you can be like, okay, well, what did you think it was going to be? Well, I thought it was going to be blah, blah, blah. Why is it like that much money? And then you explain, well, it's because we have to do this, this, and this. It's going to take this much time. It takes this, this, and this, and blah, blah, blah. And then, well, I don't know. If they don't listen to that, and just give one. That's it. Don't keep explaining yourself. You don't need to sit there and justify yourself. You just give them one explanation. Then they'll accept it. You say, well, maybe it's a better idea. You might want to find a different company because that's what we have to charge. And, okay, have a good day, because not backing down. Do not discount and back down on your price just because some guy doesn't understand the value of the service that you provide. Okay? Another thing is practice timing everything you do. Okay? Before you start doing estimates, let's say you're working a job before you even start a business, practice timing everything you do. Time out how long it takes you to do things. How long does it take you to transport 3 yards of stone, for instance, with the wheelbarrow, or 10 yards of the skid steer? Start a timer, figure out exactly how long it takes, and do that a bunch of times. How long does it take you to plant 10 shrubs, or pruning a hedge, installing walkways and patios, etc.? Time each part. How long does it take to excavate? How long does it take to compact and level the base? How long does it take to lay the pavers? How long to cut? All those each individual things, keep all that timing in mind when estimating how long a job will take. Okay? So you just got to practice doing that. And some of this you can do even in the beginning of your business when you're first starting out. Make sure you keep on doing that. When you're first starting out, every job you do, time it out. How long does it take you to do things by yourself? And by the way, when you're not working for a company, you're working by yourself, you'll notice things are going to take a little bit longer, so factor that in. And see how long it's going to take you. Instead of having someone to help you, how long is it going to take by yourself? Okay, so time everything out. And that's the biggest factor. Okay, because it's pretty straightforward and easy to calculate how much materials are going to cost, equipment's going to cost, all that stuff. You just measure that, figure it out, find out the cost of everything you need. But the unknown is the labor. How long is it going to take you to do something? So that's why you got to practice timing things. Measure everything you can. There are calculators online for figuring out exactly how much you need for things like mulch, loam, or crushed stone. You need length, width, and depth. Get those measurements. Always round up and get a little bit more than you need. You never want to have not enough. Make sure you have a little bit more, and you're usually going to use it. You're usually always going to need it. But in any other type of business that you have, measure everything you can. Get as many measurements as you can, so you're not, when you get home and you do the estimate, you're not going to be lacking any numbers. Make sure you get all your numbers. Okay? So timing, measurements, how much think about how much materials you need, what equipment you need, how long you'll need it for, put that all together, and you can come up with a number. And we're going to talk about some other costs to factor in after. Also, make sure you take pictures. Take pictures at the end of the estimate to make sure you got that to bring home with you as well. Factor in cleanup time as well. That's something that people forget. Okay, you do all the job, but it's going to take some time, maybe even longer than you think, to clean up the job after. Maybe tire tracks, all kinds of things that happen everywhere, the driveway. Factor in that. Factor in the weather, such as how hot it will be. That might slow you down. You might not think about that, but you go, oh man, what are the temperatures going to be? What season, what time of the year is it? If it's going to be in the 90s, how much slower is it going to be? Am I going to have to take breaks in the shade and with water? What's going to happen? Or in the cold, might not be able to do everything that you normally do, right? Sometimes, things freeze or they don't work as well. In the winter doing snow removal, there's the fuel filters in skid steers. The diesel fuel will gel up, so you have to add an additive to it, diesel 911, stuff like that, and that's going to slow you down. You got to stop, you got to take out the filter, all this other things. There's all these other factors you got to think about when it comes to the weather. Another thing is call for everyone for availability and pricing, materials, equipment rental, all that stuff when you're doing the estimate, right? So you're at the customer's house, you got all the measurements, then you're going to go and call everyone to get the most up-to-date availability and pricing. Then you're going to calculate the cost of everything, materials, equipment, fuel, labor, and overhead. Okay, and again, I talked a little bit about overhead. Factor in some extra money for overhead, for some profit, because after you don't have any profit until after you subtract from the number materials, equipment, fuel, overhead, all that other type of stuff. After that is your profit. Okay, so make sure you think about, as far as profit goes, you want to make sure you understand the numbers that you have to hit to survive. Okay, you say, I want to make sure I make at least $1,600, $1,800, $2,000 a week, whatever it may be, and you have to think about how much do I have to charge for these jobs to hit that number. You got to think about that. Labor cost will depend on your location, average price, demographic of customer, right? So how much you're going to charge for labor, right? Because you're going to charge differently if you're in California than if you're going to do a job in Oklahoma. It's just going to be different. It's just a fact, depending on your location and the neighborhood that you're doing, the type of houses, all of those other types of things. Average price of the companies in there, what they charge, the demographics, and the type of work that you're doing. Okay? Are you doing construction? Are you working with stone? Or are you just mowing a lawn? Well, that's going to affect how much you charge for labor. You may choose to charge, for example, $40 an hour for maintenance and maybe $50 an hour for construction. Or you might charge $450 for a full day of labor or $250 for a half day. Might do it by the day or half days instead of trying to do it by the hour. A lot of times that's what I would do. I would just say, am I going to be there for a full day or half day? If I'm there for a full day, it's going to be $450. If I'm there for a half day, it's going to be $250, no matter what. And that's how you hit your numbers. You got to figure out what numbers you have to hit. All depends on what you need to make. All depends on what you need to make, plus factoring in overhead costs that you may run into throughout the year, such as equipment breaking. Again, you got a $600 blower, all of a sudden that thing breaks. Man, now you got to pay $600. Now spread that out throughout the year, factoring in that $600 throughout all the different estimates that you've done. You got to factor that in. And this is, again, that's how companies bleed out. As far as contracts go, I never gave a written contract. Some people might cringe at that. Well, I simply emailed the estimate to the customer. So everything was in writing online. It was documented and never had an issue. Never had a problem. No one ever tried to mess with me and not pay. And again, you got to be able to learn how to read people a little bit, make sure everything's clear. and then you can choose to have them sign a contract if you want the safety. Okay? So you can go online. There's templates. You can get contracts. Nothing wrong with that. If you want to do that, type up a contract of the estimate, expectations of, and show that, type out exactly the scope of work that's going to be done, all the terms of the agreement, and then have everyone sign at the end, and you're good to go. In the estimate, what I put in there, as I described, everything that will be done in a bullet point list with the price of the job at the bottom. Sometimes it will be 2 prices if you're offering 2 different options for a job. Okay, sometimes you go, okay, do you want it with this type of stone or with this type of stone? It's going to be like this, oh, you want me to do this or an additional, 2 yards, different types of options. Then in the estimate, it outlines the expectations of payment as well. I always collected a check for 50% of the job up front and said the remainder is due at the end of the job with the check written out to the name of my business. Sometimes it'd be slightly less than the 50% if the job is bigger, right? So if the job was like a $4,000 job or something like that, I might not do 50% right up front, but I might do 40%, 35%, whatever it is, whatever I thought I needed to buy all the materials. Okay, because like I said, I get the check, I put that mobile deposit, I want to be able to pay for all the materials with the customer's money, not my money. And then, so whatever it takes to get that money and then get the rest of the money at the end, put that in the estimate that is the expectation, that they will pay you with that check as soon as the job is done. And then as soon as the job's done, you get the check, immediately deposit the check with mobile deposit so you have money for buying materials. And if someone wants to give you cash, that's up to you. Make sure you document it. I don't mess around with taxes. Or if you want as well, you can get some software, some cheap software. You can get, QuickBooks or even FreshBooks. And then you can email them estimates and they can pay with a credit card through that. If you get integrated with Stripe, no problem. You can set that up. So that's pretty much everything with that. And then for follow-up, okay, let's say you go do a walkthrough, give them a ballpark estimate. They're fine with that. Then you put together a real estimate. You figure everything out. You email it to them. If you haven't heard from the customer in a couple days, follow up with them with an email or a phone call to check in. Sometimes people get busy. It's not that they went with someone else or they're ignoring you. Sometimes people just get busy. I've had it happen before, and because I followed up, I got the job. Okay? Follow up with them with an email or a phone call to check in and tell them you are just making your schedule for the next week. Just say, hey, just making my schedule for next week, just seeing if you took a look at the estimate and what you thought. That's all you got to do. Not following up will cost you a lot of money. They say that a lot in sales and marketing. The fortune's in the follow-up. Got to follow up. Don't be annoying, but don't let them fall through the cracks. You got to follow up. Don't let them you send out an estimate and then you just never hear from them again and you don't follow up. Make sure you pick up that phone and give them a call. If you get the job, pick up the deposit. Go say, hey, is it okay if I swing by today to grab that check? Okay, grab that, put it in the account, schedule everything out right away, follow through with exactly what you said you would do. Customers notice and appreciate when you do what you say you will do when you say you will. That is such a huge thing in business. You tell them what you're going to do, and then you do it how you said you were going to do it when you said you were going to do it. Just doing that is a huge thing. You don't even have to be the best in the world at what you do, but just doing what you say you were going to do when you said you were going to do it is a huge thing. And it helps to build a great customer base where people give you great reviews. And that brings us to the next part, which is customer service. Let's say you get the job, okay? Now you got the job. Well, let's follow through. You're going to do the job, right? Professionalism. Here's a couple tips. Don't block their cars in the driveway. Be polite. Avoid being loud, cursing, playing loud music, leaving a mess. Keep the customer updated with progress in a concise and friendly manner. Okay? It's no problem. Let's say the job's going to take a few days. At the end of the day, say, hey, we got this done today. We're going to do this tomorrow. Keep them updated. Say, okay, great, thank you. See you later. Let's say it's a little bit of a longer job. Say, hey, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. If there's a delay, just tell them what happened. Say, this is exactly what happened. One time I was doing a job and I rented a piece of equipment. It was a mini skid steer with tracks. I went to go make a turn and it had super worn out tracks. They fell off the tracks. The thing was a piece of garbage. I called up the company. I said, come pick this thing up and I need another piece of equipment. The customer didn't even know. I went and told the customer, said, hey, the tracks fell off this thing. I'm going to have to get another piece of equipment in here just to let you know. I said, yeah, no problem. Just keep them updated. Let them know what's going on so they don't look out the window and guess what's going on and think it looks like a circus out there. Okay, just have good communication. And use common sense about, like I said, not blocking their cars and being polite and not loud. Be very careful of their property. Be respectful of things that they have there. Move everything out of the way that could get broken before starting to work. Scan the whole yard, whatever you're going to do. It doesn't matter what type of business you're doing. Get everything out of the way so that nothing is damaged. Protect their property. Take before and after pictures and video. Always take before and after pictures every single time. Maybe progress pictures too. Don't cut corners and do it the right way the first time. Exactly. Do not cut corners. Do it the right way. Don't try to skimp. It's only going to hurt you in the end. Make the customer mad. It never helps anyone. Do a good job. And if you have the right experience, you know what you're doing, you'll have no problem with that. Focus on the details. Make it look good. Integrity. Here's a little bit about integrity. If you underbid the job, you need to eat the cost. It's your fault. You got to eat it. And this is the only way to build a good business, is you got to eat the cost if you underbid the job. This will hopefully teach you the lesson quickly to never underbid, and the stress is not worth it. Okay? The customer does not care if you messed up. They don't care if you underbid the job and you should have charged them more money. You will get much more money by getting a good reference from them than by asking for more money and making yourself look bad. Don't underbid a job and then 2 days in, you go, oh man, I underbid this job. This is going to take me longer than I thought. What am I going to do? And then you go up to the customer, hey, I think I undercharged you. I'm going to need to ask for more money. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to be like, yeah, right, buddy. You said it was going to be this much. You're going to make them mad. It's your fault. You'll learn that lesson quick. Okay? Let that teach you a lesson to not underbid, because you're going to be sitting there and you're going to be so stressed out and mad at yourself when you underbid that you should say, I'm never going to do this again. Okay? So have the integrity to eat the cost if you underbid. Appearance. Avoid working with your shirt off. I don't like it. I don't think it's professional. And most of the time, you don't look good with your shirt off anyway. It's nasty. Even if you do, it's still not good. You don't need uniforms. It's good if you do, but you don't have to have them. But don't look like a slob. Avoid cigarettes on the site. Smoking at customer's property. I don't think that's good either. Professional. Always pretend the customer's looking at you through the window and stay busy. Always, even if they're not home, just think that they're there. Okay? Neighbors could be watching you. You never know who's watching. Just always focus on doing the job, staying busy. Don't mess around. After the job is done, thank them. Say that if they come across anyone they know that needs work done, they can then send them your way. And again, like I said, clean up. Make sure you clean up everything really good when you're done. But tell them they can send anyone that they know your way if anyone needs work done, that you're stimulating a reference there. Word of mouth reference. Then also you need to stimulate digital referrals. Send them a follow-up email thanking them, or text message, or both, thanking them for doing business with you, and include a direct link to leave a review on Google. Before you do that though, make sure they are very happy before sending the link to review. Okay? If they're kind of a weird customer, don't send the link for a review. Just finish the job and move on. But if they're happy, they're like, oh man, we're so happy about the work you did, say, hey, I'm going to send you a link to and review if you don't mind. That would really help. Oh, yeah, great. And then you send them an email, text with the link directly to leave on Google a review. And you keep on doing it, and you build up those reviews. And that will really, really help you. And then after you're done, post all the pictures, the job pictures to Google, other social media sites, Google, Facebook, Instagram. Post it every single time. And you just have that process that you do, and you do the same thing every time. And next thing you know, after your first year, you've built up a bunch of job pictures. You've built up maybe some reviews, and now you're starting to build up the reputation of a business. Now on to a couple other details. Bookkeeping. Honestly, people are like, oh, I got to hire a bookkeeper. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal, especially when you're first starting out. Here's a simple setup that you can use. Use Google Sheets or Excel spreadsheet. Just set up a spreadsheet and document these things for every job, okay? Just put up these categories at the top. Customer name, address, phone number, date of job, brief description of job, cost of materials and fuel, cost of equipment rental, total price that you charge for the job. Put those things, enter those things in a spreadsheet, every single job, and now you got that all documented. Also document total mileage for the year on your vehicle, and then mileage that you use for the business. So make sure you get the total mileage that you've driven for the year, document that, and then also document how many miles you drove from your house to the estimate, or house to do the job, to the store, whatever it is, all the miles you drove for your business. You want to document that. Also want to document percentage of your phone bill to write these off for your taxes. Use the percentage of a phone bill that you use for business. So let's say, whatever. It could be 10% of the time you're on the phone for either talking to customers or even using it on the internet for calculating, doing estimates, whatever it may be, some type of percentage for your phone bill. And then also save every single receipt from material delivery, equipment rental, fuel, buying tools, power tools, everything you buy for the business. Save every receipt, get an accordion folder, whatever it is, and put all these in different sections and save them. Save all. If anyone gives you checks, save all the checks given to you. Save all estimates that you do, email, written, whatever it may be, and organize them into separate folders. Keep it all organized. Keep it separate so that when it comes time to do taxes, you got everything you need in your spreadsheet, with your receipts, with all your documentation. You got everything you need. And then with taxes, don't freak out. It's not that big of a deal. I have used a CPA before, and I've done it myself. With the CPA, obviously, it's going to cost you more money. You can use a CPA or save money and just use TurboTax Self-Employed. Honestly, it's not that hard. It's actually not that hard. You can even pay for it out of your own return, okay? So let's say you're like, man, I can't even pay to, for the software, whatever it is. Let's say money's so tight. Fine. It gives you the option to take the money out of your return. And just to let you know, having kids will help the tax burden. In case you didn't know that. You probably did know that. But starting a business, when you have kids, it actually does help. Because all that self-employment tax will be offset with child tax credits. And then one other thing is I would not recommend messing around with taxes. Just report your income and keep them off your back. Okay? Don't mess around. I've seen people get in trouble with this, trying to avoid taxes. Eventually it catches up to them, and they get wrecked. They get audited. It's just not a good idea. Just keep them off your back. You can still make good money even with paying the taxes the right way, okay? And like I said, that's why it's a low overhead, low debt, high profit model, and the taxes aren't going to kill you that much, okay? So that's pretty much that. Like I said, you can just follow the directions, TurboTax Self-Employed, whatever it may be. And as long as you have everything documented, like I said, you have that spreadsheet. We have your numbers of how much income you made. If you have the numbers for how much you spent on materials, on your phone bill, on the mileage of the car. If you have all those numbers, you're just going to punch in all those numbers in the tax software. That's it. So that's why you document everything. Okay? And then a couple other things to end. We're actually almost at the end here. Family and health. All right? Family first. You need to set aside family time every week or you will lose them. This means individually and together. A lot of people go, oh, yeah, oh, look at that guy. He's a successful business owner. He's got a great business, but his family is all messed up. Well, guess what? That's not what you want. Okay? Set aside some time every week. Have a family day once a week. Even a little bit of time. You can make all the money in the world and it be worthless if you lose your family. Even just taking 1 hour to go for a walk together is good. That's all it takes. Just a little bit of time. It doesn't matter what you do. You don't have to do all kinds of fancy things. Just take a little bit of time with your wife, with your kids, with your family together, and just consistent little bit of time to spend with them. Make sure they understand also, before you start a business, the hard work and sacrifice that goes into building a business beforehand. Have them understand that it will be more time and work in the beginning to build it up, but after some time, you can enjoy the fruits of the labor a little bit more. Okay? Tell them it's going to be a lot of hard work and time and sacrifice to build up that business in the beginning, but eventually that you will have more time to hang out later on down the road, but you got to do this to build something for your family, to take care of them. Okay? So make sure you set aside time. You have to, it doesn't happen by accident. You have to put it in your schedule. Just pretend you're making a schedule for the week for work and estimates and all these other types of things, and make part of your schedule spending time with family. Has to be part of it. Take the day off on Sunday. Try to do whatever you can. All right? And then last thing is health. These are important things in business. A couple things. You need to take care of your body. Do not get caught up in always eating fast food on the run. You will get bogged down. Can't eat out fast food all the time. Can't eat out. A lot of guys try to do it, and then they end up getting tired, worn out, sluggish. They start gaining weight. They look like trash, and then they get more and more dependent on caffeine and stuff, and they start losing function and getting irritable and these types of things. You can't be doing that. Prepare some healthy food at home. Take it with you on the road. Just take some sandwiches with you, healthy snacks, whatever it is. Fill your car, your truck with it. Bring it with you so you're not eating a bunch of junk. Stay hydrated, plenty of water and electrolytes. Cut out as much junk and soda as possible. It's going to bog you down. It's going to mess you up. It's going to spike your blood sugar. It's going to, all the types of stuff. Make sure you stay hydrated. Especially in the summer. A lot of guys don't drink enough water and electrolytes. You got to have it with you. I've actually survived off of just drinking Body Armor, the electrolyte drink, for 2 weeks. That's all I drank, and I was hydrated. But anyways, you don't have to do that. Just make sure you stay hydrated. Force yourself to go to bed by a certain time. Without good sleep, you will crash and burn bad. A lot of guys lose sleep, and I understand. You're going to have to work all day, do estimates, come home, do paperwork, and it's going to be late. Take a shower, dinner, blah, 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 and then it's already late. I understand that. But you got to force yourself to go to bed, or else you will die. You will crash. You got to get some good sleep. And then exercise. You might feel, especially if you do physical labor, I can't do exercise. I'm working all day. I move my body. I know you don't feel like it. But maybe you don't have the ability to, go lift weights or whatever. You may do physical labor, but don't forget about doing some cardio to get the blood pumping. Okay? Because a lot of times at work, you might be moving your body and lifting heavy things, but you're not doing cardio. Just going for bike rides or jogs helps. Also relieve stress. Okay? You're going to get stressed if you're a business owner. It's a fact. And the number one stress reliever is exercise. Go out there. Go for a run. Go for a jog or ride a bike. Go for a nice long bike ride. Whatever it is. Maybe you go to a gym and hit the bags. Do some boxing and wrestling, Muay Thai, whatever it is. Do some type of stress relief, exercise. You're going to feel a lot better. It's going to clear your mind too. so you can think more clearly, focus on your business. It's going to help. So don't forget about the health aspect as well. And believe it or not, that is the end of this video. Now, I'm sure there could be a bunch of other things that we could add, but we're already quite a bit of time into this video, and I've packed a lot of information in here. And believe me, this is plenty of information for you to start a business and build and maintain a successful business that you can build up a brand, you can build up your brand with and sell it one day, whatever it is. And if you want to go from just you, hire another person, build up to more employees, all the power to you. Go ahead. If you want to go ahead and after that, buy more trucks, build other teams, whatever you want to do, go ahead. I'm just telling you from the beginning how to build it out. This is what I believe are the best things to do and to be the most successful business that you can have from basically having nothing. No loans, no credit, whatever it is, just start from scratch. And you can do it. And I'm here to encourage you that if you think that this is what you should do, then you should do it. And you know what? If you try and fail, big deal. You're going to regret more never trying. And then when you get older, be like, man, I wish I would have tried that at least. You will regret that more than at least trying and failing. And again, fail forward. A lot of times people have multiple failed businesses before they are successful. Learn as much as you can. Learn from your mistakes. Don't get too down on yourself. Just keep trying. Keep going. Push through. And you can do it. All right? So thank you for watching. And like I said, if you found value out of this video, you can donate below. If you don't want to, that's fine. Just tell other people, spread the video, give it to someone that you know that may need it. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And also, check out the other videos as well. This channel is all about teaching the Bible. If you're into that, great. If you want to learn more about that, go check out the introduction video I have, which is about how to navigate this channel. All right? Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hope you got value out of this. Have a good day.